Let's see if this works. It looks like it's got a great connection. Alright, so just got the Kola map installed earlier today. I've put a few planes to be able to do some exploration. You'll probably guess that I started a little bit earlier just to see if everything worked fine. I'm happy to report that with my 3080 Ti graphics card, I don't have any issues with frame rates, even flying low or near buildings and things like that. I limit in the main menu my FPS to 90, and I think the lowest it went was 85, so that's pretty good. So yes, you're probably really curious to see what it looks like in flight. One of the first things I remember I wanted to try was one of those highway runways. So I put a Finnish F-18 here at the BAS 100, which is really located on a highway. You can see that they made it a little bit wider in that area so that we can take off and land. And you have like this parking area there at this end, and there's another one at the far end there. And so this is how I started my exploration. What's nice too is that there is like a little mountain and a village nearby, so you can see some of the detail, because they seem to have put most of the detail in this area. And later when we visit like the Russian part here, you'll see that the detail is pretty nice. And so let's try to take off from a runway in an F-18, like from a highway there. Start with that. Alright, just before I get in, I just want to check that the stream is still going nice. Alright. So we'll start with this Chevy 1-1 plane. So here it is. Just to give you an idea what it looks like here. This is the runway there in the distance, and you can see that we have like a parking area here where you also have like what looks like shelters that are hidden in nature. There's a few of them there on the other side. I'll taxi, and as we get closer to them, you'll probably see them a little bit better. Flaps. And you can see the terrain is not like super even, which is really nice. I remember like enjoying that on the Syria map, where sometimes you would taxi on runways, and it would make sense that since this is located on a road, that everything on the ground is perfectly even. But there you go. Those are those probably like ammunition shelters that are sort of hidden in the landscape, so they look really nice. So then you have to taxi for a little while on the road so that you can make it to the runway part of it. Detail on the trees is nice. That's why I usually stay in cockpit. You're taxiing on a narrow strip of road. You don't want to get in the grass too much. I'm just gonna stop it there. Stay immobile for a few seconds. That way you'll probably see what the trees look like a little bit better if I'm not moving. yeah, you've got the little lakes there on the side. The trees are moving a little bit because I put some wind. And then I could set up my flight plan here. We're just going to do the takeoff and go to the nearby village, but there we go. We could set this up like we start this up over here with that. And then we can give it a little bit of formation light and position light. See how that looks. Looks alright. And so let's take off from this highway runway. You can see there's a little crack in the middle. It's the first time I noticed that. I thought like a lot of the textures on the runways looked like they're very clean for a place so far north. There are little details in it. Trying to see what that structure is. It's another one of those hidden ammunition dumps probably. It seems like it has a tree on it too. Nice touch. And you can see there are little villages and houses. So when you take off you actually see something. And you can see the terrain in this part of Finland is fairly flat, but there is a little bit of a hill in front of us. You can see in the distance there are some little mountains and lots of lakes, some open areas, many forest areas. And if I put my frame rate counter, it seems to stay mostly at 90. Sometimes if I turn my head fast, it'll go to 80 something. So earlier I was kind of curious. I liked that feature there, that big rock. And then I think I saw on the other side there's a little bit of a village, as you can see right there. I wasn't too sure if it would look good from up close, but it does look still quite nice. I don't know how it's going to show up on the stream, of course, because the stream reduces image quality by quite a bit. But if I fly over here, let's say, and just pause it like that, you get to see that it looks kind of nice. It's got some nice details. Those fields that we see there in the distance, they sort of remind me a little bit of some of the fields on the Sinai map and things like that. And you see lots of individual houses and little streets, so it looks like it's inhabited by like real humans. So even if we're like just flying at 2,900 over this, it still looks fairly detailed. You can see the little dots there on the top. They stay like fairly well detailed until you're like really close. Then it just becomes a ground texture. So I was happy that I could take off from a highway runway. So what else can we do on this map? Well, let's go look. I think I have another F-18 from Finland that I put close to the Russian area so that you can see the big ports where they have quite a bit of detail. So let's go change planes. Go see that area. So I'll show you after on the F-10 map what it looks like. So check the capitals there. That's good. So if we look on the F10 map, we're here. We have Murmansk, we have Severomorsk. So lots of areas here like Polyarny and Gadzievo, where they have like the submarine bases and all these things. So let's go have a look at that. We're sort of flying over the river right now. They don't have a lot of detail on the water, so I guess that's going to come later. But you can see villages, fields. This looks like it is an inhabited area of Russia, of course. And so we can go check from up close. From up high it looks fairly flat, but there are a few little mountains in the area. And the other thing is, if you get like really close to the ground like this, you can see that it would be a fun place to do like patrols with helicopters, because there are some rolling hills. And I don't know, I could see myself patrolling in my Mi-8 over the river in this area. Now, as we get more into the city areas, you can see the buildings get a little bit bigger. You have some industrial buildings, chimneys. Pause it here so we can have a better look, but you can see this area there. Different types of buildings too. Some, what could be fuel tanks there, parked cars. And of course, this is typical in Russia, like those large apartment building complexes. They have quite a few in this area, as you'll see. Let's continue flying. You see I think that's the Murmansk International Airport. Some bridges here. I know some people are gonna like blowing up bridges. You can see the train, yeah. Train's about to go on the bridge there. So they do have like animated things. Like earlier I even saw, like as I was getting close to one of the road bridges, I saw a bus going over the bridge. Some more of those apartment buildings. Seaside industrial areas. This is like more big city area there. Again, I could pause just so that you can see the level of detail. There's a bridge over there in the distance. road bridge, this one. Then if we check here, you'll see this is some of the big cities that you have in the area just north of Murmansk. I think this is Murmansk right here. And then there's going to be Severomorsk, which has an airfield there, and another one there where I put a MiG-29 that we can use later on. You can see that they've populated the ports with some ships. Got nice cranes on the docks. I think that's Severomorsk. So again, you can see that it's very naval. We're getting closer to the ocean north, like lots of port areas there. Have this airfield over here. Again, if I pause it and I just take a look at that. I like that there are some ships, but there are many spots like that are free, so I'm guessing I could probably position many military ships nearby and use them as targets for a mission. And then I believe this is Polyarny in front. This is where we get close to those submarine bases. I remember a long time ago in Jane's FA-18 we would fly a lot in this area here. So you can see here there are some dry docks. I think this is the area earlier where I saw some submarines. If we go low enough, we should be able to spot them right there. There you go. Maybe if I move it a little further, you'll see them a bit better. So the bigger ones, look, they're in the nuclear launch submarines, and the ones to the left, I think it's an Kola class submarine, I'm not sure, but with that thing on the rear of the submarine. So yeah, they look really nice. But it really makes it look like a military installation, you know, where they would take care of their subs. And you have some more dry dock areas there in the distance. So yeah, pretty good potential for military operations there. Now some of the other parts that are kind of fun, if we let's just go on the F10 map. So if you look here, you have Bodo, which is in Norway, so we're gonna go have a look at that. I'm gonna choose the slot for the F-16 that I have in Norway, and there too you'll be able to see the different ground elevations. So I took this particular parking here. You can see some of the hardened aircraft shelters. They're blended in pretty well with the environment as well. So let's get in that thing there. Downloaded a nice Norwegian skin. But there you have like the hangars, the hardened shelters that are blending with the environment. Have quite a few of those here. But from where we are, you can see that the elevation is a bit higher than the runway elevation. So we'll see it a bit better when I start taxiing. But it looks really nice. So let's do that. Let's put our feet on the pedals and start taxiing. This is one of the places where I felt the asphalt looked like it was like brand new, so I don't know if in real life it is brand new like this or if they're gonna weather it eventually, but maybe the Norwegians keep their taxiways like super clean. Don't know. I can't say, I've never been there. As you can see, we're moving downwards here from where we were up top. There is a slope that we can pretty see, and there's like these runway markers. You get the runway ahead. Some of these lights in the posts that hold them, so you don't want to land too short of the runway because you could probably hit some of those. Like on the Syria map, there are a few places like that where you got to be careful. You can see like a radar station there in the distance. Nice little touch. And the buildings there, they look nice. Get airborne. You can see the international airport at the carousel for passenger aircraft. And the city is really nicely detailed. I think I saw like a soccer field somewhere here at one point.
Altitude. Altitude.
When I first flew in this area, I went to fly over the antenna there on the hilltop.
Altitude. Altitude.
Kind of cool looking antenna. And I put like my waypoint in this area here, because I thought like the fun of flying in Norway is going into the fjords and all these areas that have mountains. You could imagine, for example, this runway having been captured by Russians, for example, and you come in from those fjords trying to use terrain masking to have a surprise attack on the airfield. Turn the lights off there.
Altitude. Altitude.
I don't know if it's going to give me the same effect, but earlier when I tried to put on my altitude hold in the F-16, it would turn. So it still does it. I don't know what causes that, but is it from the latest patch? Is it from the map? And same thing, if I do attitude hold, it doesn't hold the attitude, it turns right. You can see that my frame rate is still pretty high as I fly low, come close to this little bridge, get into nature. One of the areas ahead I thought looked really nice. I'm gonna climb a little bit just to show you a bit better detail, but those ridges on top of the mountains there, they look really nicely detailed. This area there looks especially spectacular. Like those nice little ridges, I think they're really cool to look at and make the flight more enjoyable. But yeah, you could easily imagine flying at low level, and it's interesting to see that some of the lakes have a higher elevation than others. Like this part here is much higher than the part that's a little bit lower to the right.
Altitude. Altitude.
So quite an interesting area for the geography. It looks like a giant glacier in front. Like that area is like permanent snow. I like the lines in the ground right there. Like, I'll pause it so that the image can stabilize for a little while, but just below and to the left of the plane, the lines in the ground are really nice. There's this area with fjords too that looks really nice. And I'm gonna check in that particular fjord there. I think earlier I saw some power lines, so they have modeled that. The roads are there. I didn't see a lot of buildings here, but I think we're not in the most detailed area, so that could be the reason for that. So let's unpause and try to go check if I can find my power lines that I saw earlier. You can see there are trees at the bottom. The top is more barren. There are areas where it looks like there's snow.
Altitude.
Got this big glacier there. It's a delight just to fly around. If there were radars to my left or to my right, they wouldn't be able to spot me right now.
Altitude. Pull up. Pull up.
Yeah, I think this is the place where the power lines are. You can actually see them on the hilltop there. I'm just gonna pause it when I get there. There we go. So you can see there are power lines and they go across. So if you're flying like super low level, you could probably fly underneath, or and I think I spotted some more a little bit further down, but looks cool. Yeah, right here. So right now I'm flying under some power lines there. And they go connect to the other side on the tall structures there. You could make like really cool air-to-air engagement scenarios in the hills like that. Or you go chasing other people in air-to-air and have terrain to move into. And you can see below the roads are there. Little bridges. Aren't many villages here, but there are roads. Be interesting to see if you could put vehicles on the roads and they would travel to their destination, set up a camp, whatever. So this is a nice area, and of course, for fun, one of the things I did, oops, I might have gone a little bit too far. I put a MiG to show you some more areas within Russia. So now we're going to be in a MiG-29. Oh, did I? Yeah, I'm going to have to restart it because if your landing gear lever is up, the wheels are going to come in the MiG-29 even if you're on the ground. Let's try this again. That's good. So that's my MiG-29. There's another one parked there with a soldier. That's what we could see earlier when I was loading. But again, you've got this little golf ball radar antenna type of thing. I feel like this one looks like the asphalt or the ground is a bit more weathered. So I feel they've done a good job with this one. Still looks a bit clean to me, but that's could be just me. And again, you can see in the runway there like elevation changes from the beginning to the end of the runway. If you look at it sideways like that, it starts low, goes up, then goes down again, then wants to go up a little bit at the end. So that's pretty interesting. And again, you have the hangars that blend in with the environment. I think that's a nice, really nice touch, nicely done. They look a bit better than on the Caucasus map here, I think. At least they blend in really, really well. So you can see that this airfield here done a pretty good job. Looks more military as well with all those hangars. So let's taxi to the runway there. I'm gonna zoom back into my plane. There we go. Wasn't too sure if my flaps were down or not. Okay, so this is the switch to do that. So here we just took off from Monchegorsk, and you can see it's close to some mountains there. So we're gonna go have a look at those. I'd set up some waypoints in that area, but what's cool too is that you'll see that the camouflage scheme, like the gray and green, it really fits well in this area. I'm gonna use accelerated time a little bit to get on flight plan and show what I want to show here. You can see with those peaks, with the green and the gray, that the plane blends in pretty well if I zoom out. Of course there's the big thick black smoke behind it, but otherwise it would be hard to spot, right? What I thought was nice here too is that there's like a big train yard next to this industrial site. with all the big train yard, you have like the train bridges and yeah, look at these hills there. That's pretty interesting terrain. Could be another interesting place to have air-to-air engagements where if they get close to the ground you can try to hide in the mountains. There you go. So I had one more little thing I could do. What I wanted to test is if all those industrial buildings could be blown up. So I think I put an F-16. But then I would have to go to the Blue Coalition. Yeah, I put an F-16 with some bombs. Because I wanted to see if I could blow up some industrial building. So let's try this here. Again, you'll see if I try to put my autopilot here, I think it's going to do the same as earlier, but instead of turning right, it turns left. So seems like it wants to go west, I guess, for whatever reason when you turn the autopilot. And so there's that. So let's check my countermeasures here. They're good. Let's get the helmet display on so I can see from the outside like that. Gonna go air to ground, power on our GBU 31s. Gonna go to our targeting pod, make it soy. So what I did is I gave myself two waypoints on industrial buildings, one next to the other, and I'm gonna go bomb those. So we can look here. I've got this building there and this other large building there that we're going to try to hit. I think I had put like some vehicle, yeah, this vehicle is close to the buildings I want to hit. So there's that dark black building there and this yellowish top building that I want to destroy. So I wanted to see if they would blow up. So we're gonna go check that out. At this point, usually I want to set the autopilot, but as you saw, I won't be able to do it, so I'll have to fly manually. I'll lock this particular target first with a point target. Got my bombs are armed, master armed. Now entering the zone. I'm gonna wait a little bit before I drop the bombs. Now we're well within the zone. We've got good speed, good altitude, so bombs away. And then I'll target the other large building here. There. Bombs away. Gonna make a left turn.
Caution. Caution.
Zoom out. Hopefully we can see the Big Bang. Kaboom. So you can see the building like disappears into the ground. The other one too. Kaboom. So let's go look at our damage. See, there's fires over there.
Altitude. Altitude.
The odd thing I noticed is that when I got closer and closer, the fires are very present, but the buildings have completely disappeared. So I don't know if they'll have like damage models for the buildings, but at least they're destructible, so that's kind of nice. Oh, and look, the BTRs are shooting at me. Not a good idea to go so low at such a low speed. But you do have like a visual representation of the damage you did to a target. Like if you decide to do a industrial strategic strikes, something like that, it seems to work. Of course, in the next coming days, I'm probably going to make strikes against ships, against all kinds of other things. But I wanted to test that. And I really went with just random buildings that I chose because it looked like an interesting industrial area to have as a target. So there, that's my testing I've done so far, so I'm sharing that with you, what I've been able to see. Look at this, when you're flying at this altitude, how beautiful it looks. It's interesting to have another more like forest map where you can have like strategic locations that can be interesting for realistic war scenarios, Cold War scenarios with Russia and the Soviet Union. Can have more modern operations, like with Finland joining NATO opens up a lot of possibilities. Just flying air patrols and, you know, intercepting Su-27s, MiG-29s over this type of terrain could be quite a bit of fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the little first flight over the Kola Peninsula. Go have a bit of fun up low. Up low. Down low. You can see here I'm at like 68 frames per second. Of course, got lots and lots of trees. I'm flying very, very low. But it's very fluid. I'm not getting any stuttering. I think I saw it go down to about 48. Now it's back to 80, 90. Some pretty cool land to explore. Gonna do that, maybe build some more missions. Hope you enjoyed.